Noon 5:30. Even with the cooler than normal temperatures the past few weeks, the fruit trees have started budding. That means allergy season is about to kick off.
Yeah, if you suffer from allergies, spring is the time of year that so many of you dread. And with the rain we have seen, it could be a tough extended season. Fox 5's Les Crittenden explains.
There's a huge possibility that it'll be a heavy allergy season.
Dr. Rick Vanuya with Optum Care is giving us a heads up. The rain we've had is going to make this allergy season a tough one.
When there's a lot of rain, we expect increased pollen counts. And with increased pollen counts, of course, there's a potential for increased exposure to our allergy sufferers and increased symptoms.
We really have not had a lot of rain so far in 2023 at just over an inch. But compare that to last year at this time, we had less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. Last year's drier winter didn't prevent the fruit trees from blooming, but this year the blooms are already full of pollen. As for seasonal allergy sufferers, this is not good news. Allergy sufferers are probably already experiencing the symptoms, including a runny or stuffy nose with itchy, watery eyes. So what to do? Dr. Vanuya says there are options. One is avoidance.
Keep your activities mainly in the dusk or early evening hours because pollen counts are highest in the morning.
Next, allergy meds, but according to Dr. Vanuya, this is really a Band-Aid solution. He suggests allergy shots. While they are not a cure, they are a long-term treatment.
Allergy shots is we're giving you what you're allergic to so that your body can produce what we call blocking antibodies. It's almost like you become an Avenger with a force shield. And when you breathe in the dander and the pollen, your immune system doesn't see it.
Vanuya's advice, treat your allergies to avoid more serious health issues down the line.
So if you have allergies, you are 2 to 3 times more than likely to develop asthma at any time in your life.
Les Crittenden, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.